Our next guest is another champion of advocacy for our community. This is the Honorable Member of Provincial Parliament, Mr. Sharif Sabawi. And I have an honor to introduce him here. He serves as the member of the Provincial Parliament for the Mississauga chapter in the Erin Mills riding. And he's also the parliamentary assistant to the Ontario's Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery. He's been actively involved in various legislative committees and has played a significant role in securing funding and projects for his constituency, including long-term care beds and infrastructure development. With over 30 years of experience as a computer and network and IT technologies professional, Mr. Sharif Sabawi brings a wealth of expertise to his political career, aiming to improve the life and the quality of lives of Ontarians by making it easier and more affordable for them. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome Mr. Sharif Sabawi.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sharif Sabawi. I'm the MPP from Mississauga Erin Mills. And I'm very happy to be here today. And I'm very delighted to meet Mr. Haroon Siddiqui. This is the first time we meet, the first time I hear him speaking. And I agree in majority of the points he spoke about. Canada is a country where we are having dialogue, where we can have our own cultural without having to be blended with other cultures. We can keep our characteristics of culture. We can preserve our roots, our culture, our language, our faith, our art, our music, our food as well. As we can see in multiple occasions, there is a Canadian mosaic, the Canadian fabric. It contains different pieces of mosaic, and every culture have its own piece of mosaic. You can recognize it, you can entertain it, you can enjoy it, and we are enjoying each other. I learn about other communities, about other culture, not from documentaries, not from books, not from articles, not from internet, but directly from the people. Because when I go to event, Pakistani event, Indian event, Polish event, Ukrainian event, I get to meet the real people, and I get to hear the real stories. Not the history is written, which is written in books, but the real history by the word of mouth of the people. And this is great benefit we have here in Canada. Nowhere else we can enjoy that. And of course, today convention is building the network, building the business. 98% of Canada, Ontario's business is small businesses. So with conventions and meetings like that, we are encouraging small entrepreneurs to try to start getting into business, to grow their ideas, come up with ideas. And also the cultural and ethnic background of those bazaars and conferences and stuff is very important, because majority of the stuff you can find here, which is directly connected to your culture, you might not find it in normal grocery stores, you not find it in normal mall stores. So it's a good opportunity for us to feel still that we are connected with our culture. So I like to thank the organizers for all the efforts you are doing to bring that together, because I don't know if everybody knows how difficult it is to put something together, and all the permissions and contracts and insurance and police, and like it's a lot of big list of stuff to be able to put together something like that. So please give them a round of applause, please. And of course, I would like to thank them for inviting me. I'm available. My number is public. You can Google me. You can Google my cell number. It's available for everybody, very similar to Premier Dog. He always give his cell phone number to everyone. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of Premier Dogford, on behalf of the Government of Ontario, I wish you all the success. And we are available here to help. I have a token of appreciation for the organizers. If somebody can please come to receive it from me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sharif, for those words of encouragement and sharing your reflections with us. Our next guest is Sister Maliha Shahid. She has been a resident of Whitby for over 15 years. She was first elected as an East Ward 4 councillor in 2018 and subsequently elected as a regional councillor in 2022, assuming the role of the deputy mayor for the town of Whitby in 2023. She has consistently prioritized the best interests of Whitby residents, advocating for initiatives like a new hospital, a modern sports complex, and the removal of tolls on highways 412 and 418. Sister Maliha brings a wealth of experience, having served in various senior positions on boards and committees representing Whitby at both the local and regional levels, contributing significantly to the community's well-being. So without any further ado, I'd like you to join me in welcoming Sister Maliha Shahid.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, ICNA Canada, for your kind invitation. It is indeed a phenomenal convention, mashallah. And seeing you from here, it's a beautiful sight. ICNA Canada's president, Brother Muhammad Ijaz Tahir, Brother Arif Jahangiri, and the entire ICNA team and volunteers, congratulations for bringing this beautiful convention to us. Let us give them a round of applause. My name is Maliha Shahid. I am the Regional Councillor and Deputy Mayor of Town of Whitby. Today, I stand before you to talk about the important and timely topic of women in politics and women empowerment in Islam. It's crucial to recognize that women's participation in politics and their empowerment are not only compatible with Islamic principles, but also essential for achieving social justice, equity, and progress in our societies. Islam places a strong emphasis on dignity and rights and equality of women. Historically, women in Islamic societies have held prominent positions in politics and governance. During the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, women played crucial roles in advising, educating, and participating in community affairs. As we all know, the most inspiring example of women's role in our society comes from the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Prophet's wife, Hazrat Khadija al-Kubra, Raziyallahu anha, she was successful businesswoman. Al-Mu'mineen Hazrat Khadija's support was instrumental in the early days of Islam. She believed in Prophet's message when he received his first revelation and offered him her entire support. Her financial resources allowed Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to dedicate more time in his prophetic mission. Hazrat Khadija's wisdom and guidance was invaluable in shaping the early Muslim community. Women's participation in politics is not just about representation. It is about ensuring diverse perspective and a balanced decision-making process that reflects the diversity in our country, and it needs the aspirations of the entire population. When women are empowered politically, they can advocate for policies that address issues such as education, issues such as healthcare, and brings many economic opportunities. The role of women in politics and their empowerment in Islam is not only permissible, but also encouraged. Islam recognizes the rights and potential of women as equal partners in this pursuit of just not, bear with me one moment, in the permissible for the fact that this is a pursuit of a just and prosperous society. By breaking down barriers and providing equal opportunities, we can harness the talents of and the abilities of women to build more inclusive and equitable world for all. I'd like to share some things that I found in my research before preparing this for you. The underrepresentation of women in positions of power and leadership is another aspect of social injustice. And I know that Canada is leading, and it's a beacon of progress in inclusivity and diversity. And indeed, it has made significant strides in promoting social justice over the years. However, there is a role we can all play over here. We can combat social injustice against women in Canada by a collective action on several fronts, promoting education and awareness about discrimination and gender pay gap. We need to encourage communities, schools, and workplaces in open and honest conversation about these issues, encouraging initiatives that promote economic empowerment for women. Canada is undoubtedly a country that values social justice and equality, but we must acknowledge that there is work to be done. With this, I'd like to really congratulate ICNA Canada on the steps the organization has taken to empower Muslim women by encouraging their active participation in the community, leadership roles, educational programs, and social initiatives. ICNA's effort to promote interfaith dialogue and collaboration involving women and youth are invaluable. By addressing these issues head-on and working, we can create a better Canada. With this, I'd like to thank all of you who is here. I'd like to thank ICNA Canada for the opportunity for me to be here. Jazakallah khair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jazakallah khair, Sister Maliha Shahid, for sharing those powerful words on the importance of our Muslim sisters to get involved in the work of advocacy. As I said in my introduction earlier, this session is all about the importance of our presence in journalism, our presence in advocacy, our presence in civic engagement, and furthering our work on the field, on the groundwork, and introducing you to those champions of our causes, those people who are representing us, are ambassadors of our causes, and they're doing it with honor and dignity. Then our next guest is the CEO of an organization which we should all know about, and I personally believe that we should be all contributing towards them financially on a monthly basis, because they are championing, they're on the forefront in ensuring that any social injustice issue related to the Muslim community has been tackled on head front. There is hardly a case which goes by where a Muslim family has been faced with any sort of injustices where NCCM, National Council of Canadian Muslims, is not going to be present and advocating for the rights of that family or the community at large. And it is my utmost pleasure, and I'm honored to introduce you today to the CEO of NCCM, Brother Stephen Brown. Brother Stephen Brown is the CEO of the National Council of Canadian Muslims and a prominent community leader with extensive experience in the private sector, labor and human rights advocacy. Coming from an Afro-Canadian family engaged in the civil rights movement, Brother Stephen has been an influential figure in the Quebec Muslim community. He actively promotes human rights, interfaith dialogue, and initiatives for the Muslim youth while assisting community groups with advocacy efforts. He's a recognized speaker and a commentator on various public policy matters, including issues like Bill 21, civil liberties, Islamophobia, and the status of Muslims in Quebec. So I'm very encouraged, I'm very excited to hear from Brother Stephen Brown.
Assalamu alaikum, ICNA. How are you? So, it's a real pleasure to be here. I'd like to thank all the organizers of the event, as well as the leaders of ICNA for allowing me to be here. Bismillah. Today, I was asked to speak about how we can stop discrimination and Islamophobia in Canada. And that's something that we work at every day. And so I thought, I'm really gonna try to get into the how of it today and really share a little bit about what we can all do together. Because this is not just something that a couple of people can do, it really is all of us. So first of all, when I was thinking about that question, I was reminded of a quote that's attributed to an Islamic scholar that's often called the father of history. Ibn Khaldun, he said, "The past resembles the future more than one drop of water resembles another." So could it be that the answer to that question in the future actually lies in our past? Well, let's find out. I come from a long line of Afro-Canadians. My family came here 7 generations ago. When my great-grandfather tried to sign up to fight the First World War, they didn't take black soldiers. He had to try twice. My grandfather couldn't get a job at a union. When my dad was born in 1949, people that looked like me could not go to university. Anybody here come to this country when they were not allowed to go to university? I am the first person born in the history of my family with the right to study what I want to and work where I want to. Now, Canada is not a perfect country, but to go from literally not being able to qualify for a blue-collar job to now having Greg Fergus as a Speaker of the House of Commons is an enormous amount of progress, and we as a nation should commend ourselves for that. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. And so I want to bring to light a few key principles in fighting discrimination and hatred. And many of these principles, as many of you will see, actually help us contextualize many of the elements of the Islamic tradition that teach us how to fight discrimination and injustice. The first principle I want to talk about today is love is greater than darkness. Before talking about fighting hatred and discrimination, you need to talk about love and admiration. Here we're talking about deep love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His tradition and a deep admiration of our Islamic identity. Why am I starting with this? Why? Because those that hate us don't take time off, right? This is a real struggle. Muslims today, do you think the people that are Islamophobes sit on their couch and talk about it amongst themselves? I promise you, they don't. The more visible we are, the more we're attacked. The spike in hate crimes goes up in Ramadan. If we do not love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we do not have a deep connection to our own Islamic identity, you will not have the strength, the stamina, and the will to see the fight through to the end. So that is the place to start. Practical tip number one, do everything you can to become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and don't let anybody get between you and your faith. Principle number two, eyes on the prize. Stay focused. Don't get so distracted by the symptoms that you forget to deal with the root causes. You know, at NCCM, when we're looking on how to deal with these issues, what we really look for is interests. Islamophobia in the modern world is a business. It is an institution. People get votes, they make money, they start wars, as our brother Harun Siddiqui was speaking about. So focus on the root causes. Number three, now that we're back to our source of power and purified our intentions and we focused our mind, now we're going to get to principle number three. What do you think I'm going to talk about now? Principle number three is about taking action. So I want to highlight three key elements of taking action against discrimination before moving on to Islamophobia. First element, discrimination has to be opposed absolutely everywhere it rears its ugly head. It's like a cancer. The more you let it go, the more it grows. Ibn Taymiyyah once said, justice is the backbone of society, and you don't let anything gnaw away at your backbone. Discrimination is injustice personified, actualized. You cannot let it go at all. Also, when you do so, fight discrimination Islamically and loudly. You can't fight discrimination, as Malcolm X said, early in my life, I learned that if you want something, you better make some noise. Three, use all the tools at your disposal. In order to fight discrimination, you have to have access to the courts. You have to be able to go to the court of law to get your rights. Three, make sure that you have effective lobbying skills and institutions so you can really work with, like we see over here, our lawmakers to make institutional change, right? We're talking about Bill 21, right? We banned white supremacists by working all together in this country. That's real change. Next, in dealing with Islamophobia and hatred, we have a real problem. 40% of Canadians and 52% of Quebecers have problems with Islam. When dealing with hatred, there's two elements. education and togetherness. Now, most people, when we talk about that, first want to talk about education, but that's the opposite. You have to start with togetherness. You have to start with reconciliation. The Prophet Muhammad said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, shall I not tell you something that is better than the status of voluntary fasting, prayer, and charity? They said, yes, Rasulullah. He said, reconciling in a case of discord, for the evil of discord is the shaver. Research shows that you have to start there because the hearts are closed. You cannot educate somebody that is not open to listening to you. So first, work on common projects together. Work on common projects together. Create moments where you can share together with people that are different than you. And then when you are educating people, when you are talking to people about what we are and who we are and what we're not, make sure, number one, that we have real access to the media. Malcolm X said, if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. So be able to get your message out there. And when it is out there, start by highlighting the similarities, not the differences. And when you are talking about your differences, couch them in common goals and greater principles. And last but not least, the fourth element. This is a societal issue. We have to tackle it as a society. We need to do this all together. You cannot fight this individually. Every last single people that have made progress on discrimination and hatred, the Black community, the Jewish community, the Native, the indigenous community, doesn't matter who, they work together as a society. So, in conclusion, what are the four things we covered? Increase your strength by increasing your love for Allah. Stay focused on the big picture. Take action against injustice and hatred. And most importantly, do it together. Thank you so much, ICNA, for your time. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.